Hello. Cathar Love 37. The power of Gnosticism. How we all love power. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, yet we all love power. The power of Gnosticism. Well, Gnosticism is powerful for this very simple reason. Gnosticism is founded on the idea that you think for yourself, that you go along your journey, your particular process in life. Because, contrary to all the religions that I know, you need to submit to that religion. In Gnosticism, the word submission does not come into it. If there's a word, the word is empowerment. Empowerment of self, because you are forever trying to work out what is best for you to move towards your higher consciousness, enlightenment. This is a process of empowerment. You neither need to look up to anyone nor look down to anyone, be it human or a deity. We are constructed this way. Gnosticism is the realization of understanding reality, actuality, as against people's beliefs, myths, superstitions, what was written in a book, this book or that book, hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. Gnosticism, you could call it the science of the soul, the mystic science. There are a number of essentials. We've talked about them before. But they're important because therein lies the power of Gnosticism. All religions, they have a belief system which may vary, but essentially they say, if you don't belong, if you don't believe and act upon these religious truths that this particular religion has, you will be damned. If you do believe, and you follow those rules and regulations, commandments, you'll go up there. If you don't, you'll go down there. But up there and down there is for eternity. This is a fairly onerous and fearful proposition. No wonder people, as they get older, get scared, because they're worried what they have possibly done during their lifetime. And also this aspect of submission. This is not a process. There may be a process of salvation, but it's certainly not a process of empowerment, self-empowerment, self-realization, self-actualization, self-love, call it what you like. A rose by any other name, still a rose. With Gnosticism, just take our deities. The major religions have a deity which is fashioned in a personal way. In other words, we could recognize it from a human point of view. The Gnostic says our and the Tao, it's beyond our knowing. But there's a number of things that we do know. We do know that what was created by the source, the Gnostic creator, is creating a process whereby all that was created, everything animate and inanimate that has a divine spark, will ultimately when it has become enlightened, perfected, will return. It's gone through this process of empowerment, of enlightenment towards self-consciousness. It will return to the source. In that respect, the love from the source is unconditional. It is for everybody. Every divine spark. The divine spark is that unchanging individuality that we have. It's the innermost core of our being, even beyond the soul. So, to the Gnostic, if you don't get it right this time, well, you know you have another lifetime, and another lifetime, and lifetimes beyond that to get it right. With Gnosticism, is there punishment? No, there's no punishment. The closest thing you can get to punishment is karma. Now, karma is a number of things to a number of different people. To Gandhi, who most people look up to and respect, as I do, because of his non-violent, his approach to civil disobedience, which was passed on to the Reverend Luther King. He said we shouldn't have hospitals because people who are ill, sick and diseased, they're experiencing karma, and therefore we should let them go through their karma and not put them in hospitals and fix them up and treat them. So, though I agree with Gandhi in some respects, I sure don't agree with him in all respects. So, this is karma, basically used from some Indians' points of view as a punishment for the way that you've lived. You poke that person's eye out, then expect to have your eye poked out at some future date, this lifetime or that lifetime. From a Gnostic point of view, we have karma. But karma is there for us to gain understanding. Understanding about other person's feelings or situation and those of our own. For instance, if we have broken someone's heart, then you should expect to have your heart broken at some future date, either in this lifetime or the next lifetime. Now, it's not to punish you. It's so that you will understand the hurt, the pain, the emotional trauma that that person goes through when their heart was broken by you. Now you can understand. So karma is there for you to gain understanding so that you hopefully don't do that in the future. Now, if you, as some religions, Christian, Muslim, various religions and other sects and so forth, they have women as commodities. Sometimes they have a number of women which they just use as commodities. In other words, they own them. There are those that have slaves, female slaves, to do their bidding. If you, in this lifetime, have downtrodden women, made them less than what they should be, have not helped to empower them, then, from a karma point of view, possibly in the next lifetime, and most likely in the next lifetime, because it's hardly going to happen in this lifetime, that you could come back as a downtrodden woman yourself. To punish you? No. But after you spend a lifetime under a veil or a burqa on a hot sunny day, and your husband is walking much more coolly in front of you, then you've got a lifetime to understand what it's like to be in that. Oh, maybe you like the burqa. Well, that's great. So, there was Barbara Walters, well known in the US, a journalist, and she went to Afghanistan. Now, this is the story as I heard it. And she talked to this Afghani woman who was in a burqa and normally walked so many meters behind her husband, respectfully, I presume. And she spoke to the woman, and she just hoped that women over there would become more free, possibly not have to wear the burqa or whatever. Anyway, she returned in 3 years' time. And she saw the same woman. And here she was, in her blue burqa, and wandering behind her husband, doing the Afghani thing. And she said, "Look, nothing has changed in 3 years. Are you still happy to walk behind your husband?" She said, "Yes." She said, "Why?" The woman said, "Landmines." Ah, okay. Supposedly a true story. And if the guy went boom, who knows, that might be a little bit of karma as well. So the Gnostic, the power of the Gnostic is that he has no fear, he has no worry about what's going to happen in the life hereafter. He knows that when he dies, he'll go to the land of spirit, the spirit world, whatever it is. He'll have a break, a bit of R&R, see what he did right and what he didn't do so well this time, and reorganise at some future date there a lifetime that will be part of the process of him moving towards his higher consciousness, towards perfection of self, which is empowerment, also empowerment of self. And there's no submission anywhere to anybody or anything anywhere along the line. There's the Gnostic, I suppose, is we're looking for reality. We have no objections to science. Good science. Actually, today I went to pay $25 to this fund in California, which is, they've got some law coming in, which is that GMO foods, genetically modified foods, especially corn, but any food must be labelled that it's a genetically modified food. So, but unfortunately, I'm an Australian. You have to be an American national. I was going to give my $25 for what it's worth, but unfortunately, as an Australian, I was prohibited from doing that. They didn't only accept money from America. But what's going on there? A Gnostic isn't just about philosophy and philosophy possibly versus theology or religion. The whole purpose of Gnosticism is to think for yourself, to understand yourself, to understand what is good for you, not just spiritually, not just mystically, but to know what is good for you physically, and more important, to know what is not good for you physically. So this, in California, this legislation they're trying to bring through to have your foods labelled, whether they're using genetically modified corn or whatever, has taken on quite some importance, because there was a French study, as reported in the Daily Mail of England, which had these rats fed on genetically modified corn, not on a 90-day diet as previously. They had them over the lifetime of these rats, laboratory rats, against a control group and various control groups. And what has happened has to be seen to be believed, because they had photographs published, and those rats, poor animals that they were, some of them had tumours virtually as large as the rats. And again, It's the female that cops it. Life expectancy was reduced tremendously, but for both the male and the female, but definitely much more for the female than the male. In fact, her birthing, also her liver and her kidney, so birth defects. So it's really quite a frightening thing, and to think that this could happen to us. So they're saying this could be the new thalidomide situation. But what we have, while I was giving my $25, is here's the people of California at the moment. It's something like 60% want labeling and 24% don't, and there's those in between haven't decided. But suddenly, something like 37 major companies, Pepsi, Coke, Kellogg's, all these, Monsanto, which is producing it, they're pouring millions upon millions upon millions into advertising to, not to tell you that they're having genetically modified, they're going to say freedom of speech or something else, but they're there to advertising so that you will vote that that foods don't have to be labelled whether they're genetically modified or not. So Gnosticism is about empowerment of the person, but empowerment in all directions, not just mystically, spiritually, idealistically, but in living life. The one thing, so this is a form of empowerment, Gnostic power, Gnostic empowerment. But the big thing is that you have, even with all this, within this conflict and strife, that you have peace within yourself. If this life is not working out exactly as you want it, it's okay. You know, that's not the end of the line. Look, very quickly. Time has always existed. Before the Big Bang, there was existence. The Big Bang, or call it what you like, obviously the universe had a beginning. But there's no ending. Even the religions say there's eternity. So we all agree upon that. So if there's no beginning and there's no ending, there's no time. So this is a fairly large picture. So what's happening at this very moment to you and I is not so important. Now, I've just said a few minutes ago that that's genetically modified food is something, yes, we do what we can. So we think globally, we act locally. So if we can do something, we do it. If we can't do it, we sit back, relax, and we have harmony, peace, and bliss within ourselves. Gnostic power is taking away fear and worry, but it means you need to act. For instance, the theologians and various people, even skeptics, are arguing whether the glass is half empty or half full. They looked at the glass, suddenly there's no water in it at all, because that damn Gnostic went up and he drank it. He's an opportunist as well. That's the situation. That's the time to act. Now, so on that particular situation, I hope that you might be able to contribute even though I couldn't. Bye for now. See you soon.